Well, I'm Matt with the Geek Awakens. I'm here with author Ashley Winstead. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come meet with us and talk with us for a few minutes.
Such a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Um, I was able to get an early copy of the book, be able to read that for the book club. Love that. That was a great opportunity. So thanks for everybody at Source Books being willing to do that and hand that out. That was fun.
Thank you for reading.
Yeah, absolutely enjoyed it. So I guess we'll jump right into the questions. Doing a little bit of research.
Yep.
You have a PhD in contemporary American literature. So what about that course of study led you to be a novelist?
Yes. Reading a lot of dry books for 6 years. And then at the end of that, writing basically a novel-length, book-length dissertation. I woke up one morning and I thought to myself, Ashley, you have just finished your dissertation. You taught yourself how to work hard on writing. What if you, like breaking thoughts, actually use that work ethic to write something that you really want to write?
Yeah.
That was like an expression of yourself. So that is what led to that. But I will say, and this for anyone listening who's in grad programs and feels like ashamed about their genre, fiction interests, there's a culture of snobbery within academia. You know, you're reading a lot of lit fiction, and I think like just want to say release yourself, you know, from any of those like those feelings of like shame or guilt, because once I did, yeah, all the books flowed out.
Genre fiction is not a bad thing.
It's not, yeah, those aren't dirty words, yeah.
So by the time Midnight is the Darkest Hour, which is the one that we read for the book club, arrives in October, you have published 6 books in 3 years?
Something like that, yeah.
That is an absolutely incredible pace. How did you manage that? I know in a lot of cases, some writers have had things on the back burner that, you know, once you get into the world of publishing, they're like, hey, what else do you have? So how did you get here?
So that's strangely not even my story. Everything that I have published, I've written in these 3 years. Yeah. So the very short version is that I always wanted to be a writer.
Okay.
And at the tender-hearted age of 22, was rejected from about a dozen MFA programs, took that rejection very seriously, didn't write again for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
So I just did what every writer is not supposed to do, which is take rejection really, really hard. And so by the time I convinced myself after the PhD program to try this again, it was like I had unleashed myself. And, you know, once I told myself, like, no one's going to read it, it'll just be for you, I kid you not, the books just can't stop. They flow. And the minute I am done with one, I'm chomping at the bit. Everyone's like, rest, self-care. And I'm like, no, yeah.
This is self-care.
This is self-care. Right. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, that's spot on.
So a couple of writing questions because I also am a writer. So plotter or pantser?
Oh, plotter to like the most meticulous, obnoxious plotter you can imagine. 42-page outlines.
Wow.
My poor editors, like I literally have gotten feedback like, you know, you could write less in the outline and I would be fine with that. So yeah, really, really. What about you?
I am a pantser.
Okay.
I have a general outline and then it kind of goes from there.
Oh, so, that's like
dangerous.
Magic in my perspective.
So kind of a piggyback off of that. Obviously, then you do your endings before you start.
Yep.
Okay. So and you also mentioned that endings in our panel that endings have to be earned by the character.
Yes.
So that's been a hot topic lately in the literary community too.
Yeah.
So, you know, how do you know the endings first, and then do you back out as far as the reasoning for the characters to get there?
Yeah. So what I do, and I love talking about this because I could just nerd out about this all day. So thank you for this question. So what I do is the first thing I do with all my books is I figure out who my characters are, like what their misbeliefs are, what it is they want deeply but don't feel like they can have, you know, the things that'll terrify them the most. And then that's how I figure out my plot. Because everything that's going to terrify them, I'm going to throw at them, you know, and so on. The thing they want most is going to appear in front of them. So I figure out my characters, and that usually leads me to knowing how this journey is going to end for them based on who they are, what they need, what they want, and what they deserve. So it's like all stems from the characters, but like I was telling you in our discussion for Midnight, I did have an ending for this book that changed. So sometimes the endings change with publishing professionals telling me I'm not allowed to do things. But yeah, it's that sense, you know, as a writer, when you come up with an idea and it clicks, there's that intuition that you have that you're like, this is it.
This is where it fits.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we will. Two more last questions.
Yeah.
So writers always have multiple projects going on at once. It's just how we are. Too many tabs open in our brains. Midnight isn't until October.
Uh-huh.
But is there anything new and exciting that you can tease?
Yes.
That's coming? Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, writers are always like living 3 different timelines at once. There's like the book that you're writing that no one knows about, you know, that's like for the future. There's the book that's coming up, and there's the books that are like out. So I have a romance coming out in May, on May 9th, The Boyfriend Candidate. Midnight, my thriller, is coming out in October. And I'm writing both a secret project that I can't announce, but also my next thriller right now for Sourcebooks. So, yeah, like 4 different timelines all at once. So
much
yeah,
fun, so much
yes.
fun. Well, then one last question. Let our listeners know where they can find you and follow you on social media.
Yes, so I am on Instagram way too much, so you can find me there. I will literally, if you DM me, I will enjoy like messaging with you. So at Ashley Winstead Books on Instagram, ashleywinstead.com has all my website with all my socials, and then I am like increasingly not on Twitter, but technically at Ashley Winstead there. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking time to talk to us.
Matt.
I know you said this is your first con, so go enjoy. Take a little bit of time on the floor for sure.
I am so excited.
Thank you so much.
Such a pleasure. Thank you, Matt.